The finale of Stranger Things has just dropped. In this video we will be diving straight into what it all means, and it's pretty wild. There will be spoilers. Let us begin. I'd like to begin by drawing your attention to this moment. Eleven stands in the Upside Down as it is about to collapse. She closes her eyes. We hear her exhale, as if to give up her spirit. And then boom. The Upside Down collapses. But then, what's that? I've listened back to that sound many times, and I think it's Elle inhaling again. You think, hang on, is she dead? Is this just a creative decision? Is this a hint that she might still be alive, that something else is going on? Well, of course, the end of the episode offers a possible theory.
She expended the last of her energy and she vanished. Has anyone asked themselves how she cast that spell?
The suppression stone.
She couldn't have used her magic.
The kryptonite machines were enabled in that moment. So how was Elle able to use her powers? There's one detail that doesn't add up, and that leads to the possibility that maybe that wasn't Elle, maybe that was a projection of Elle from Carly. Maybe Elle is alive, maybe she did get a happy ending, maybe she did get those waterfalls, but it's left ambiguous, and that's the point. So we'll be thinking about what that means. This episode also provides some fascinating insights into Henry Creel, aka Vecna. We finally discover why Vecna was afraid to go into that Nevada cave, that childhood memory. Well, if you've seen Stranger Things The First Shadow, the prequel stage play, which is canon, you would know that already. The man with the briefcase is a scientist who worked with Dr. Brenner, and he defected and became a spy for the Soviet Union. And in his briefcase is some stolen technology. In the finale of the TV show, it presents itself as a kind of rock with mini gates on it to Dimension X, the Abyss. And it is through coming into contact with that stone that Henry becomes entangled with the Mind Flayer, that cosmic entity living in Dimension X. The scientist gives Henry a warning.
It will consume you.
And that's what we suspected would happen, that this final episode would reveal that it wasn't really ever Henry in charge. It was always the Mind Flayer. He thought he could use the Mind Flayer to his own ends, but really it was ultimately the Mind Flayer in control, because it's so much more powerful. And that's what Will says to Vecna. Maybe you're just a vessel like me. We're just puppets in the hands of the Mind Flayer. But actually Vecna disagrees, and he's been wrong before, but no, he claims to have become one with the Mind Flayer. They need each other now.
I could have resisted it, but I chose to join it.
I mean, I think you can still say that Henry has become consumed by the Mind Flayer, but he's not railing against that. He doesn't feel enslaved by it. He's fully embraced that new lifestyle. Ultimately, both of them need to be taken down together. Going forwards in this video, I'm going to be talking about Vecna being in control of the hive mind, but just bear in mind what I really mean is Vecna in partnership with the Mind Flayer. There's more to say about what this shocking and surprising conclusion really means, and I'll get to that. But first, we need to update the Stranger Things lore with what we now know. Bear with me because this will reveal more layers of meaning to the ending. If you're new to the channel, I'd love to invite you to hit the subscribe button below, and let's continue. Season 5 clarifies the cosmology of the Stranger Things universe. There's a corrupt hierarchy, with Vecna ruling from the Abyss and dispatching his forces of darkness down to Earth via a bridge, the Upside Down. In many ways, this structure is no surprise because you see it around the world and down through history, permeating our stories. It's how reality works, it's inescapable. I'll whiz through two examples to show what I mean. Then we'll see how Stranger Things connects to those very examples and subverts the pattern. First, there's Jacob's ladder, from the ancient Hebrew text of Genesis. Now bear with me on this one because this is really cool. Genesis 28, when Jacob reached a certain place, he stopped for the night because the sun had set. Taking one of the stones there, he put it under his head and lay down to sleep. He had a dream in which he saw a stairway resting on the earth with its top reaching to heaven, and the angels of God were ascending and descending on it. There above it stood the Lord, and he said, I am the Lord, the God of your father Abraham and the God of Isaac. I will give you and your descendants the land on which you are lying. Your descendants will be like the dust of the earth, and you will spread out to the west and to the east, to the north and to the south. All peoples on earth will be blessed through you and your offspring. So Jacob is in a kind of wilderness space. As night falls, he takes a stone and uses it as a pillow. And this stone is like a seed being placed in the earth. And as Jacob descends into a mini death-like sleep, burying the seed as it were, in a dream the seed becomes an anchor for a bridge connecting earth to heaven, a ladder. This is a cosmic hierarchy. God rules at the top from heaven, Jacob represents humanity on earth below, and the angels, God's messengers, ascend and descend on the ladder, mediating between heaven and earth. The dream is showing how God's blessing will flow down from heaven through the seed of Jacob into a nation which will then flow out to the world. Names and meaning are imparted from above. Physical matter to embody that meaning is offered from below. And as Jonathan Peugeot points out, you see the same structure all over the place, including one of our most enduring fairy tales, Jack and the Beanstalk. What does he do? Jack scatters magic beans, the seed, and they grow into a giant beanstalk, a bridge connecting earth to heaven. And this is actually referenced in Stranger Things Season 5.
Look, if somebody else has some magic bean that I don't know about, I'm all ears.
In the Stranger Things cosmology, there is a distant world called the Abyss, or Dimension X as it's known in the official prequel stage show. It's an alien world populated with immensely powerful life forms, including the Demogorgons and the Mind Flayer. Now, on the 8th of September 1979, 11 banished Henry Creel by creating a temporary gate, and this cast him into the Abyss, where he became Vecna. He remained trapped there until the 6th of November 1983, when 11 unintentionally opened a more permanent gate during a psychic experiment in Hawkins' lab. Here's where the cosmic hierarchy stuff comes in. Season 5 reveals that in that moment, 11 somehow created a sphere of exotic matter, a seed. And this seed became an anchor for a ladder connecting Earth to the heavens, but not in a good way, and we'll get to that. This ladder is a wormhole, or an Einstein-Rosen bridge. It's a cosmic beanstalk, but one whose walls are too difficult to climb for our characters. And that's why Steve cunningly suggests using the radio tower as a more practical beanstalk to shish kebab their way into the abyss while it descends.
We got a beanstalk right here.
This bridge region itself contains the Upside Down, the realm that we know from the first season. It's a desolate snapshot of Hawkins, stuck in 1983, the date it was created. And up in the abyss is Vecna, the ruler at the top of this hierarchy, the apex predator.
A psychopath with a serious god complex, but human.
Notice his throne room is like a tree with a vaulted interior. It's evoking images of temples and churches. It also contains his victims, the children he is using to amplify his powers. How many children? 12. A very important biblical number. Jacob had 12 sons, who became the heads of the 12 tribes of Israel. When Jesus the Messiah came to earth in the flesh, he called 12 disciples. Very intentional number. So Vecna is a perverse ruler with a god complex, and specifically the Judeo-Christian God. He's taking and subverting and perverting biblical ideas about who God is. He has called, or rather kidnapped, 12 children, and he dispatches his angels, the creatures of the abyss, down the bridge and onto Earth to do his bidding. Vecna is the head, and the hive mind is his body. Remember that verse from Genesis. God says to Jacob, "Your descendants will be like the dust of the earth, and you will spread out to the west and to the east, to the north and to the south. All peoples on earth will be blessed through you and your offspring. The point is that through Jacob's people, God's blessing will radiate out to the whole earth in all 4 directions, west, east, north, south. In season 4 of Stranger Things, Vecna established 4 gates in Hawkins so that his influence might spread in every direction to the ends of the earth. So Vecna is an evil ruler, and his entire hierarchy is a corrupt one, a perverse inversion of Jacob's ladder. He wants to bring his kingdom to earth, but his dominion is not one of blessing, it is one of destruction and deception. Vecna's 4 gates are not in the sky, but in the ground, such that the monsters emerge in Hawkins from under the earth. The abyss might well be situated somewhere in the heavens, but Vecna is not bringing light down from heaven. No, really, he's summoning darkness up from below. And to pacify the children, he keeps their minds locked up in his, where he masquerades as an angel of light. Notice how he deceives them about his mission.
In my travels, I discovered another world, a world far from Earth. It is the light, which brings me to the true reason why you have been chosen. You are not like other children. You have dormant powers in here. And I believe if we work together, we can awaken those powers, channel our energy, and draw this new world to ours. And as the light reaches the darkness, the light will expel the darkness. Your loved ones will be saved, and you will be heroes.
He's using some quite Christian-sounding language there to appeal to their sense of right and wrong. He knows that he can only have their compliance if they think they're saving Hawkins rather than destroying it. And in the moment of summoning the abyss, they are all seated at a dining table in Vecna's mind. Vecna and his 12 followers, rather like the Last Supper of Jesus, but unlike Jesus offering his Holy Spirit, Vecna possesses these children in a demonic manner. So this entire corrupt hierarchy needs to be torn down, and that's what our heroes are trying to do. They represent family, friendship, loyalty, and bravery, however imperfectly. And they want to restore the Hawkins on Earth to its rightful cosmic hierarchy, rather than the evil one to which it is currently bound. However, that requires care, because beyond the bridge is an outer darkness which can consume anything.
Dustin, what's on the other side of the wall?
Death.
The characters discover this when Nancy shoots the exotic matter seed, sending out a shockwave which ruptures a hole in the wall of the bridge. So if they're not careful, their efforts to destroy that which is bad might also destroy that which is good in the process. To complicate matters, there's another force at play. The military, under the supervision of Dr. K, and they want to create more children with powers, like Henry and 11.
It was not drugs that gave us our powers, Jane. It was Henry. Now Dr. K is trying to restart Papa's program, but my blood is not working. Not as Henry's did. Papa's children were always just pale imitations of Henry. Only one of us was truly like him.
Carly Prasad, or Number 8, knows that this cycle will only continue if 11 remains on Earth. Someone will always want to exploit her powers. There is only one way to break this cycle.
After we kill our brother, after the children are rescued, we stay on the bridge. When the Upside Down vanishes, so will we. It is the only way, Jane.
This nicely pays off a line from Season 2 when we first met Carly.
There's nothing for you back there. They cannot save you, Jane.
No.
But I can save them.
Back then, Carly had a rather different outlook, and she saw Jane's friends in Hawkins as kind of restraining her. But that line becomes more prescient in Season 5 because Carly is effectively holding 11 to that commitment. 11, will you save your friends? Will you do what needs to be done in order to end this? Because it's an incredibly high calling. There is only one way to end this, an act of self-sacrifice. As Jesus would put it, greater love has no one than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends. And that brings us to the final confrontation. Victory is achieved. Vecna's hierarchy is indeed torn down. But at what cost? Now, I think what's quite powerful about the ending is, however you interpret it, Elle does have to make a sacrifice. If she does indeed die in that moment, then she has made the ultimate sacrifice for her friends. If somehow she was able to survive, she still had to make a sacrifice because she has to take herself away from them and be completely hidden away so that she doesn't fall into enemy hands. Vecna is this kind of antichrist figure, as we've seen, and he comes crashing down. The figure in the show who ends up being most Christ-like is 11, and as she lays down her life, whatever that actually means in the context of the show, her friends call out to her, El, which is actually another name for God in the Bible. It's almost like a prayer. And, I don't think these parallels are a coincidence. Stranger Things has been made within a culture that has been meditating on the Jesus story for centuries. Why is it that we find the idea of self-sacrifice in storytelling so glorious? I think it is because of Jesus, because Jesus is the God who laid down his life not only for his friends, but also for his enemies. And of course, the story doesn't end there because there's resurrection, and I wonder if that D&D campaign where they reflect on the possibility that El might still be alive at the end, that's tapping into some kind of yearning within us for the possibility of resurrection, for the possibility that death isn't the end. In Stranger Things, it's kind of expressed as potentially the wishful thinking of some kids who can never quite grow up, but with the Jesus story that has permeated so much of our world and shaped so much of our storytelling at such a profound level, maybe there is more going on. I've enjoyed Season 5. I don't think it's as strong as Season 4, which really impressed me with its gothic feel and the way it completely blew open the door on the backstory. But there's much to be commended about this effort to land the plane of a show which has been running for a decade. If you like the cosmic horror of Stranger Things, you might enjoy this short Christmas film I wrote and directed. It's called The Northern Line, and I describe it as the Polar Express meets Stranger Things.
There are two Christmas realms connected by train. At one end of the line is the North Pole, a place of light and laughter, festivity and fun. But at the opposite end of the line is the South Pole, a place of darkness and danger, calamity and chaos. One Christmas Eve, a young woman called Natalie decided to tempt fate. She boarded the only train bound for the South Pole. This is her story.
You can watch it right now on my channel by clicking here. I would love to hear your thoughts. Very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to all of you viewers. It's been such an exciting journey to be doing this channel with you guys. So stay tuned, God bless, and I will see you soon.